Well, I know there's a dragoon, but what kind of dragoon is it? Oh, it was a crimson dragoon. That was one more word than they could fit on the chapter select screen. Ah, Orlus, another country I get mixed up with Arcania. Especially considering they're actually best buddies. Best countries forever. Oh, well, that was quick. Didn't even get a chapter for that one. What are you looking at me for? The guy's over there. Wait, was that a death nah or a running away nah? Is this the same guy? I can't tell. He could just be that dude's identical twin. We can't keep living being constantly murdered and all that. Me and my hundreds of twins, we don't want to live like this anymore. Look over there, to that identical-looking area of the village. We'll remember that you spoke to us. God, that was so rude. I demand respect, and that guy's just over there, oh, well, I'm not gonna let your wild deeds go unpunished. Pfft, what a jerk. The faster on the hunt of talking to a person. Hey, that's the name of the chapter. I'm heading to the fortress near here to give them a stern talking to this time. Gonna be stern as hell. There isn't a moment to waste. We've got to get the best rank possible on this chapter. Yeah, reinforcements. I'm sure you all know we're not actually going to get reinforcements in this chapter. They'll come long after we've done all the important business, because that's always how it works. This is my favorite line, by the way. That's a lot of plates I'll be needing. I mean, I don't want to kill you and all those you hold dear. I mean, it's a bit of a waste of resources, but I'm gonna do it 'cause I'm evil. So this is definitely a step up in difficulty from the last chapter. Now, we do have slightly better units this time around, but you might also notice we don't start with a healer. Now, Frost will be our healer, but for the time being he'll be healing the enemies, thanks to the fact that he has a physics staff. The physics staff allows you to heal pretty much anyone on a battlefield. Now, there are a few problems with this, of course. First things first, it does allow him to be quite annoying at the start of the chapter. He'll be healing people without needing to be anywhere near them. You do want to minimize this, of course, because, as you might have noticed, that physics staff has 10 uses, which isn't that much, so you want to minimize the number of times he uses it on the enemies because, of course, that decreases how many times you can use it once he joins your team. And, yes, in general, the physics staff won't get you through the entire chapter if you have to rely on it. A couple of enemies do have vulneraries, but those don't really heal you all that much. Plus, you have to trade them around with everyone, which is kind of annoying, so it's more of sort of a break thing, like once you kill a bunch of enemies, you take a break and then heal everyone with that vulnerary, which of course has 3 uses, so that's not many either. And yes, all around you want to dodge things, but the thing is, there aren't that many forests here. It's a lot of open plains, meaning you won't be doing much dodging. We do have speedy units at the very least. The Pegasus Knights and Horsemen are both fairly fast units. But of course, another disadvantage is the fact that we have 2 Pegasus Knights. And if you didn't remember, and if you didn't notice Minerva at the beginning of the chapter stating this, Pegasus Knights are, of course, weak to arrows or bow weapons. It's an enemy attack even though they haven't actually done anything yet. Well, Ruben's not exactly talking out of his ass here. He is a pretty tough unit, but of course we have to worry about getting to the fortress first, and with all these archers around, that is going to be a bit difficult. Of course, it's not just the archers that are annoying, though. They themselves are pretty bad. You also have to worry about the nomads, or actually I think they're called horsemen in this game, but either way, they're like your standard archers except they're on horses, so unlike these standard archers, they actually have good movement because for some reason archers only have 5 movement in this game, which is kinda dumb because that makes them slower than pretty much every other unit, but I digress. And unfortunately these guys decide to be aggressive, so we have a lot of units to deal with. And while we may be a decent group, taking on all these guys is going to be a bit difficult, especially since nomads are also fairly fast, so even our Pegasus Knights have a hard time doubling these guys. And no matter what, we're probably going to have 1 or 2 units at the end that are going to stay alive, and unfortunately, Katria has a Killer Lance which increases her critical hit chance, but unfortunately, she doesn't like to crit very often, despite being a Pegasus Knight and having a weapon that actually, does that, and oh, what do you know, B-Est crits it too, but she crits the wrong enemy. Well, that's not good. And she gets hit by this guy at 70%. Oh dear, things aren't looking too good for B-Est, and that horseman's gonna take advantage of this. But she dodges, even though he had 4% more chance to actually hit her than the other dude that did hit her. So yeah, I got pretty damn lucky here. Now, you do kind of have to keep Minerva over to the left side, because first off you're going to want to save that village over there, then you're going to want to recruit Frost, and at that point you might as well just keep her over there, because it's kind of hard to really get her back to the group all that, in a timely manner at least. If you want to go a bit slower then you can, but personally I'd prefer not to. I'd also like to note that you can actually go back to the village you started at. I'm just dumb and forgot you could do that, so I didn't. And we are going to kill this deserter with B-Est, because I think she deserves it for that near-death experience. B-Est is actually a really good unit. That was actually a pretty good growth rate itself. I would have preferred a bit of HP, but hey, you can't get everything. But the thing about B-Est is, she has fantastic growth rates, but she starts fairly weak. Now, in the main game that's not really a problem, because you have plenty of time to train her, but of course this is only a single chapter, meaning we don't have that much time to put B-Est to that much use, so she's gonna grow fast, but it's not really going to be enough, and of course, the problem with Katria is, well, again, as I said before, she has that Killer Lance, but for some reason, she just doesn't like to crit. I guess all my luck went into dodging this time, which, honestly, I'd prefer, since, like I said, very minimal healing, we have to survive a lot, and not taking damage at all, that really helps. Well, I don't know about protecting your family, at least directly. But Frost is going to be very helpful. He's going to top off B-Est a bit. We do have to be very careful with that thing again, though, because it's only got 7 uses left, and unfortunately, we are heading to pretty much the most difficult part of this chapter. Well, other difficult section. That first section is also pretty difficult just because there's so many enemies, and it kind of forces you to separate Minerva right at the start so you can take care of that thief. We're not that fast. Don't worry about us. No, don't call reinforcements, please. Don't. Oh, damn it. And of course, those guys are fairly aggressive, so start of the next enemy turn, they're gonna come right for us. Nothing too important there. We're gonna give her the energy drop, which actually permanently increases her strength, which is gonna be very helpful since she is one of the weaker units. It does kind of suck, though, that we are kind of limited in units, because both groups, the White Wings and this mysterious man whose name isn't displayed constantly, both their groups are kind of cut off a bit. This mysterious man... Okay, Hardin only has 2 of his men here, Wolf and Roshia. Wolf is fairly powerful, Roshia is kind of the weakest of Hardin's group. On the other hand, we lost Paula, who is one of the strongest of Minerva's group, and we also keep B-Est, who, again, gets strong, but does not start strong. And Katria, I think I've mentioned Katria's problem thoroughly at this point. Minerva herself is a fairly powerful unit, but she does share the whole, bow weakness, so you still have to be careful with her. You can't really pincer attack these guys too well. I would suggest trying to lure them. Honestly, if you want to be really patient, I think these guys will just charge you even if you're on like the opposite side of the battlefield, so you don't actually have to make these guys down here aggressive. But I would like to lure them out, get those knights taken care of. And we do have to keep our distance here. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to attract a lot of attention. I'm not really good at strategizing this part just because I am so impatient here. But yeah, I rely a little bit on luck this time around. Thankfully, I do seem to be getting fairly lucky with these dodges at least. And these crits with everything that's not the Killer Lance, thanks a lot. And unfortunately, we have made these guys aggressive, but for some reason that archer decided to go towards us? I don't know why, but any attention I can draw away from the main group is fine by me. Minerva can take a few hits, so I am actually fine with sending her down towards the aggressive guys. Because again, the main group is probably in the most trouble since, yeah, there's still a large density of enemies. Now, I could try to take these guys down, but all in all, best idea, draw them out. Just have this bridge be a choke point and let Hardin come in. And again, it's similar to the treasury from the previous chapter. You just want to create a choke point so that the enemies can't pass and that you can just kill them. But you also want a weaker weapon, because Hardin does have some good defense and good speed, but he's not going to survive too many hits, especially since he's only a normal cavalier. And there's still plenty of units, but they seem to be going towards Minerva, but a little too much this time, though. I also want to get Frost out of the way, because he is kind of in the danger zone. Thank you, Wolf. Wolf is kind of an average unit, I'd say. Having an archer does help a little bit, and he is fairly strong, and oh, what do you know, the Killer Lance actually did something. But only once, unfortunately, but yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, Wolf is pretty useful, not the most powerful, though, and Roshia is kinda painfully average. We also want to be very careful because I believe one of these guys has a Beast Slayer, right? Or Rider's Bane, rather. Yeah, Rider's Bane, very dangerous for Hardin. Thankfully that knight didn't actually decide to battle Hardin the previous turn, because if that thing hits, of course it will sting. As I said before, if you have a particular weapon like that, the Rider's Bane, it is pretty much like the bows to a Pegasus Knight. It is just incredibly painful, and you will probably not survive the attack. Which is why you want to take them out ASAP, preferably with a Pegasus Knight, actually, because for some reason, even though Pegasus Knights do ride on Pegasi, I don't think the Rider's Bane actually affects them. Which is very, very handy for, surviving. If you like living, it is fairly helpful. Also, the White Wings are getting some damn good levels. They are some good units, though. I think that their growth rates are a bit different than the growth rates in Shadow Dragon. I could be wrong there, because I think it's more based on this game, New Mystery of the Emblem, rather than Shadow Dragon's growth rates. They are different, and, well, as you might imagine, the sequel to Shadow Dragon does have better growth rates overall. Alright, so we actually do have the enemy's attention divided, but it's still gonna be pretty difficult to survive like this, especially since Katria is kinda weak at the moment. I don't actually want to send her into battle. Using Minerva's also a bit of a risk here, because there are plenty of enemies that can attack her, so hopefully she survives. Thankfully, we do at least have that javelin, even though it's fairly weak. And I'd much prefer to heal Harden, since he's down in front. He's going to be taking quite a few hits, and apparently B-Est is going to be taking a few hits, and she actually missed. Yeah, unfortunately, B-Est misses sometimes. I guess she's not perfect. You know, other than the fact that she has just dodged every possible death blow here. Which is pretty damn handy, actually. Again, I'm relying a lot on luck this time around, which is unfortunate, but hey, you know, sometimes it has to happen. But hey, you know, it's working, so why not, right? Let's just accept the fact that we probably shouldn't be winning this battle just because I'm doing kinda horribly. Grouping around these trees might seem like a good idea, and it actually is if you have enough health to do so. Like, I'm only taking this position because of Katria is fairly weak at the moment, but if you have the time and energy, I would suggest grouping up with the trees just to give you a bit more of a fighting chance. And we're just about done here. As I said, this is the most difficult part of the chapter. If you actually manage to clear this bottom section, the rest is cake. And wow, Katria actually got a good level. It's just too bad these are all just single chapters, because I'm getting some damn good level ups here. Even better than the ones I got in the previous chapter, actually. Now, as I said before, the boss is going to be pretty difficult. Thankfully, the reinforcements have stopped coming in, so we don't have to worry about them, and the last few units that are there, you do have to worry about drawing their attention a bit too much, but it's really not too bad to avoid their attention for the most part. Well, not anymore, they're not. Well, he does have a point. These are plains, so he kind of excels at, you know, not having forests around impeding his movements. But I wouldn't say movement is really a huge advantage here. Because again, you want to take things slowly. Don't move around too much. You can make a quick escape if need be, as can the Pegasus Knights, but really you probably don't want to. The only unit here that actually can't escape in a pinch is really just Frost, but he shouldn't be too close to any danger. You saw how easy it was to take care of those few troops nearby him, right? Really not too bad. Alright, so the plan here, of course, as it should be obvious, take care of those horsemen first, then take care of Reuben, and then lastly those last few enemies. Of course, there is a sniper amongst them, which is, of course, a promoted version of the archer. And I don't think I've mentioned it before, but the horsemen are actually promotions, but they're not promotions of the standard archer. I'll get into that later since we don't actually have the units that promote into horsemen, but indeed they are actually a different class. It's not like some later Fire Emblem games that allow you to... Jeez, B-Est, calm down! B-Est is just kicking ass here, like more so than usual. But anyway, yeah, we don't have any sort of branching promotion like in Fire Emblem Awakening or Sacred Stones. It's different units this time. Alright, the Knights definitely should not be a problem, but unfortunately Reuben is. We can only send one unit in before he actually, you know... Well, okay, we can send Wolf in before taking him on, though. Then again, he is an archer, so we don't really want to send Wolf in. Well, he's not in any other danger, so if he takes a hit, it's not too bad. Plus, Wolf does have at least plenty of HP, so he's got that going for him. And hopefully I can survive as Harden. He does have a sword, which means he does have the weapon advantage, but other than that, this could be a bit risky for him. And look at that damage! Yeah, that hurt! Yeah, snipers are tough in the first place, but with that silver bow, they do a ton of damage. Their accuracy, of course, is nothing to sneeze at either. Also, I'm dumb and he used a silver lance. Way to go, me! Oh, and of course this sniper has plenty of defense. Figures he would, but whatever. That was actually a pretty good level. See what I mean? This game has great growth rates. Also, if you're worried about not being able to kill this sniper, just surround him and he can't do anything. That's another disadvantage of the archer that you don't really have to worry about because, unless you're really bad at the game, enemies will never surround you, and quite frankly, if that many enemies do surround an archer, you're probably dead anyway. And fittingly enough, we end Reuben with Minerva. After all the other levels, that one's just underwhelming. But yes, surrounding this guy is fairly easy. We should be able to... I don't know if I really want Frost going in there, because he might not be able to kill this guy despite having magic. Because if he's not able to kill him in one shot, or he misses, then that guy would more than likely kill Frost, so I don't really want to do that. I mean, it's not like these knights have any range whatsoever. Or, I'm not looking at it. Yeah, see? Wow, that actually works out perfectly. I do not have to worry about this at all. Oh, yeah, that's right. I do have a silver axe. Take care of him. Will we win this battle? I don't know. We might not be able to defeat this lone knight. That we can definitely defeat, and he's got no chance of killing us. And at least he gets one last bit of damage in. Good for you. You sure did a good job. Oh, what do you know? You came back the moment it finished. Not even like before we killed the very last guy. Yeah, a bit late for that. I guess there are probably a few more guys inside the fortress, but we could take them too. What, Harden of Arliss? Who's that? Nah. Couldn't possibly be. Could not possibly be. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Do you understand subtlety, you idiots? Well, given they are technically enemies, I shouldn't think they would look forward to that, but hey, what do you know? Maybe they'll be friends again one day. You know, once Macedon isn't following the orders of Dollar. But why would Minerva be doing that anyway? She definitely didn't seem like the evil type. Ah well, those are questions we'll have to worry about later. For now, it's ranking time, and my god, that funds rank is awful, but I somehow managed to get at least a 500 something, so I'm happy with that. I'd take a bad rank in all honesty, so 500? Pretty good in all honesty. Next time, we play one of the most tedious chapters of the Icania Saga.